Welcome to another edition of the Giants Huddle podcast brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. I am John Schmelk, coming to you from our podcast studio presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Very excited to be joined by the host of Prime Vision on Amazon Prime Thursday Night Football, Sam Schwartzstein. Sam, what's going on, man?
I'm excited to have you. I've been watching some Giants football, watched that Giants preseason game about three times already, so looking forward to talking.
Yeah, and Giants' final preseason game against the Patriots will be on Thursday Night Football and Amazon Prime. There will not be a Prime Vision broadcast that day, but we are going to talk about that game moving forward here. Do you do any prep work in the preseason, getting ready for the regular season during these preseason broadcasts, Sam?
Absolutely. We treat this like a regular game that we're going to have. We actually are probably more prep for this game than we will be for our week 3 game because of how much time how much lead up time. I have more games to watch, and there's no short week here for watching for our games. So normally we have the short week where I have to catch up. Injuries and things could change what prep I've done on Friday for what ended up happening on Sunday to then prepare for Thursday. And so we treat this, we're in game mode starting this week.
Do you take anything out of these preseason games from a data perspective, trend perspective, or do you just watch it and then crinkle it up, throw it away, and start from scratch with game one regular season?
I'm trying to see because we have no data on rookies. I try
Hmm.
and see what a rookie tendency might be, like Jackson Dart throwing under pressure. That was a great moment for him. I will want to see that continue. And you can't replicate that in practice. And since we don't have data coming into these guys in the season, I can't really project out what he'll be like in Brian Dable's offense from what he did in Ole Miss. Everyone can know that one word plays in Ole Miss are going to be very different than what Brian Dable's calling. So that's my focus is how are the rookies translating? Abdul Carter, are they translating? What's their game like? Is he a rush inside versus outside guy? His pressure rate, he did great. That's what I'll try and see.
Will you take any college data for the rookies? Let's say, week one, week two, regular season, you don't have any real rookie data yet. How much will you use some of the stuff from college, even if it's just tracking data, stuff like that, to try to be a little bit predictive?
I actually spend less time on that because of scheme difference and the rule differences are so, up-tempo offenses, transfer
Yep.
portal. It's so different that, there's some guys who probably spent more time on their NFL team than they did with their college football team last year because of the transfer portal. They might transfer in the fall. So I look at the NGS athletic score from Next Gen Stats to try and see if I can find applicable comps for a player. Did they have somebody similar on the team that was comped to the same athletic score? And that's why I'll try and project out what I think they'll do in the NFL, just because the game is so different.
Yeah, and look, it'll be the last dress rehearsal coming up Thursday night for the Giants and Patriots. We're excited for it. Should be an excellent game. People should go check it out. Only place you can find it on television is on Amazon Prime, so people should go check that out. All right, Sam, I'm going to start here. For Giant fans that maybe are not familiar with Prime Vision, they have not checked it out yet, they have not tuned in. Why should people tune in? What are they getting if they go to that alternate program with Prime Vision?
Look, if you're a hardcore fan or you are trying to get into the game and learn more about the game and try and get that what we call edutainment factor, Prime Vision is the broadcast for you. We broadcast the game. We switched over to the behind the quarterback point of view, that high sky camera, where you can still see all 22 players on every single play throughout the play, but now you're seeing it from the perspective of the quarterback. We also have player name tags. So if you're a fantasy football fan and you want to know where Malik Neighbors is lined up, you can find him on every single play because we'll have him tagged above his head. And then we integrate some AI into the broadcast so that you can watch the game like a pro. I played football at Stanford. I played football for 11 years in through college. I played center and I was trying to identify blitzers. And so year one, Alex Strand, my boss said, "Hey, let's combine what you know with what our AI scientists can do. Let's put something together." And now you can find the blitzers the same way a quarterback's trying to and know who those threats are. And they'll be highlighted with a red orb. A lot of math going on, a lot of really cool engineering work that maybe football fans might not care about to make it happen. But you're now able to see that. And every year we add more AI models that help you watch the game like a pro and help you get closer to the game. So whether it's the unique camera angle, the AI models, or the added statistics to help you know more about the game, that this is the broadcast for you.
Without getting too deep into the algorithms, the math, and the AI engine, how does that work? How do you guys go about building that out where you can predict a blitzer simply based on, I imagine it's some combination of down and distance and where players are positioned on defense, correct?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. We started out with like a rules-based model because as a former center, that's what I used to do. Okay, we're in trips right. We have four coverage defenders over our three wide receivers. Somebody might be able to blitz from that area. But then when we started working with our machine learning AI scientist teams, they're like, we actually might be able to do this in a little bit of a more unique way. And what happens here is you're able to find blitzes that your rules-based model would never be able to pick up. Or you can be more prescriptive. Yeah, there might be 4/3, but they know the down and distance. The model can know um, what tendencies teams may do. I call it thumbprint blitzes. Every week I would have to prepare for, okay, this coach, who was it? Brett Bielema had very unique blitzes when he was at Wisconsin. I played them in the Rose Bowl. And I then saw them again in the Super Bowl against the Ram when he was at the Patriots versus the Rams. It's like, oh my gosh. But these are blitzes only he runs. The model's able to find a lot of those thumbprint blitzes, the crazy stuff that a person who might go by rules might not find. And so by being able to use AI, we're able to do it in near real time, be able to get the models working as fast as possible so that Alan Kirk on the main broadcast can even and read and react to the model showing up live. So using AI allowed us to unlock a lot of levers that a rules-based model, which is if-then statements, wouldn't be able to.
I'm sure you've been surprised by some things that the AI engine in terms of blitzers has been able to predict. After the game, are you able to go back and is the engine able to tell you why it predicted that player and that particular play was going to blitz? Can you get the reasoning for it after the fact so you can learn from it and then maybe apply it in different ways?
I think what I'll go a different direction. We can help apply reasoning to the model. So that's where I think is the value is we can look at reasoning and hey, maybe we missed something, and then we can help update the model with annotations to help influence it to highlight certain things. So that's typically what we do. What's been a great thing this year is now I can pull any play and find out what the blitzers would be, and so we did not have the AFC Championship game and that 4th and 5 where Josh Allen dropped back and they did all the blitzers. Now I can see what would we have had on our broadcast, and I
Oh,
can
that's
see
cool.
the real time probabilities for it. And so what I like is, there are sometimes the model doesn't pick up a blitzer, but that's not a bad thing. That means that we've seen something completely novel over the past 7 years on a blitz. And so a lot of times it's a player who's blitzing from out of position. And they shouldn't be blitzing, and the offense can take advantage of it. But other times, if we miss something, that means that we've seen something brand new, and that's fun for us.
Huddle up, get in here. If you're lined up here, you gotta go over the middle with it to score.
Right. How do we make that happen?
I don't know, but Citizens does. Make sense of your money with Citizens, official bank of Eli Manning.
And that probably indicates, all right, well, maybe this is a pretty innovative defensive coach that we should keep an eye on, right?
Exactly. Or a guy's freelancing. And when a guy freelances on defense, that's the thing. Now you have Bobby Okereke, Stanford legend. He don't freelance a lot, but there might be times where he goes and says, I can go make a play. And so that's really fun for us to see.
Yeah, we have two Stanford guys for you now. We got Okereke and Paulson Adib with a big free agent
Right.
addition. I'm sure you got very excited about that.
It is.
You're able to predict blitzers. One thing I know, and I'm not telling anything you don't already know, defenses are really trying to disguise in the secondary now. They're trying to use, pre-snap alignment, shift post-snap, show one coverage, go into another to make that quarterback kind of hesitate. How are your AI models in terms of predicting what coverage the defense is going to show based on the same parameters you put in there for trying to identify blitzers?
Yeah, we had a great one. I got really scared. We launched coverage ID when Brian Flores was the defensive coordinator in the game. And so when I looked at the schedule, I go, can we please change the launch date for this? Because I was nervous, right? And we were able to have a play where Puka Nacua went in motion. Harrison Smith followed him in motion. That's a typical man
Man
indicator.
indicator. Yep.
Our coverage ID model never changed off zone. And when I went back and looked at the model, it had a 99% zone prediction the entire time. Never wavered. And so it's fun to see these things, then review it. And now we have teams that are asking, hey, how can I learn? There are head coaches out there that are asking, how can I use coverage ID model to make me better at reading coverages? Because it's helping people understand. And we saw the big data bowl submission, the one that won this year was predicting coverages pre-snap. And it's now a tool that people can use and look and go, okay, what I thought was a key indicator may no longer be.
Now, and I got to imagine this is stuff that can be certainly useful for game planning for coaches and quarterbacks heading into a game. Is this something that teams are building out on their own? Are there companies out there, again, whether it's like a PFF or Sumer Sports or the million other analytics companies out there, are they building these models that teams then have to invest in? How is this type of technology starting to transfer over to the coaching level, to your point?
All of the above, like you said, there are people building models for teams. There are teams that want to build models themselves because they don't want to have to share proprietary data with
Right.
other teams. Coaches are very secretive. I've had a coach when I was doing the XFL, I wanted to put all of our video on the cloud. Makes much more sense than buying 8 servers for different teams and spending all that money. Well, guess what the coaches said? No, I want my data in that box that I have on a trolley that I bring to me to every game. I said, that's fine. It's still going in the cloud because we have to have it at the league office, but okay, I'll bend there. So there's some secretive stuff that teams go through. But yes, all the Sumer Sports, Zales Teamworks, everyone's trying to build models uniquely. What I think is really cool about what we do is we have a focus on how do we make the best TV product. And so we combine TV production, football expertise, AI machine learning expertise. Every single one of our scientists have a PhD, and we're able to now combine all that together to create models that now are driving a lot of the innovations that teams want to see. We can do things that other places can't do based off our unique team structure. And so that's helping drive a lot of people go, okay, now I want this. I saw this work on TV. Now I want to build this for myself.
Now, I got to imagine that this type of technological breakthrough, and the fact that you can do it in real time, by the way, I know the NFL has tested out giving people access to video, live in game in the coach's booth on the sideline, usually it's just photos. I imagine this would probably slow that push a little bit for live video, right? But if you start integrating AI into that, that probably gives some real advantage game day to coaches, even if the play caller can be in the helmet mic to about 15 seconds on the play clock, right? You could probably get some real information given to those players if something like this could be made available real time during a game to coaches.
Yeah, I think that there'll always be restrictions on what the coaches are have to have on the replay, even if they go to video on the sideline. And the NFL does a great job on like making sure there's some integrity in the
Sure.
game for that information. And then their 15-second cutoff switch is really smart by them by having it so when there's 15 seconds left on the clock, they can no longer communicate directly to the quarterback. And the way that they do their ball spotting is there's not hyper Oregon style Chip Kelly up tempo offenses. Now he's back in the NFL, but he's not going to be running a play every 14 seconds. That's just not what the NFL game is. So I doubt that there will be a way to like manipulate the models to be able to help you in real time. I think the other aspect of it is you have coaches that have the same viewing ability of all the AI models. Now, they're not going to be as perfect as an AI model, but they still have enough experience to say, okay, now that we know that Harrison Smith follows, here's how we're not going to use this indicator. We'll find something else for your man zone indicator, or we'll always give you an outlet option. I think that's going to be more of a use case. It's better for the novice fan at home to help learn, have that
Yeah.
same mindset.
Are we going to get to player tendencies to a point with this too? I talked to former players like, yeah, I knew whether or not this guy was dropping in zone or rushing based on where's Knuckles White, how was he leaning, was he set up a little bit outside or inside, and little clues like that can give a player an idea of what his matchup on that individual play is going to do. Will we get to a point where these guys maybe don't have to watch the 10 hours of video on their own at night, and it's going to some AI system's going to be able to spit out some of these tendencies on its own?
I think it'll only help a guided learning experience because no matter how much the teams don't have to actually clip and make cut ups of plays. That's why film was called cut ups because they actually cut the film and
Yep.
reordered it. They don't have to do that anymore. They still work 20-hour days. And so no matter what, players are going to find a way to try and outwork. It might not actually be about the work. Coaches might still sleep in the office, even though they might not have to, just because we'll always have time in the day to find more work and more things. I think what AI will help do is help surface that data much better to make you have a better learning experience and not waste as much time trying to find here's the right cut up I should watch.
Yeah, you want to remove the busy work, right? You want to make sure that your time is used as efficiently as possible. I'm with you on that. All right, we talked about the AI stuff. How about next gen stats? This is something that has blown up. Um, we have access through it through the club portal. We see how quickly the dots populate. They get information in there real time. How is that able to help you, and how do you utilize next gen stats in the broadcast to help just bring more information, data, and a clearer picture as to what's happening to the viewers?
Yeah, so they have Next Gen Stats puts an RFID tracking chip in each player's shoulder pads. There is a chip in the ball. There's chips in the chains. There's chips all around the field so that we know we have an entire web of the field. Get that data in real time. But the real great part about it is the team they have. Bill Smith, Mike Van Keegan Abdu, and many others. They all are able to then take a lot of that data, create models on top of it to give us insights that we wouldn't have otherwise, right? And that's what powers a lot of our show. Our show is called Prime Vision with Next Gen Stats because Next Gen powers so much of the features that you see on our show. And I think what I love about working with them is there are so many different things that they're constantly working on to make sure the show gets better. Whether it's getting us that data faster, improving their models' accuracy, giving us new models to then tell us even better, more richer stories. And they're constantly, what I think what gets lost in some of the analytics community is that this next gen stats team is a football fan or football knowledge base first, and then there's all these analytics they build on top of it. These guys are big, huge football guys and girls, and they are actively trying to make sure that we can get a better understanding deeper into the game.
If you want to know how to manage 2 minutes of crunch time football, I'm your man. But if you're wondering about a long-term financial plan, you should talk to Citizens. Hey, I can also talk lawn care.
I'd like to learn about a mowing routine.
Yes, I knew I could help. Make sense of your money with Citizens.
If you're advising a fan at home and you would say, all right, here are the, 1, 2, or 3 next gen stats things that have come out over the last few years that you found particularly useful and even helped you understand the game a little bit better, what would you tell them to keep an eye on?
So I would use their EPA stat, and fans have probably seen this, and it's not the Environmental Protection Agency. It's expected points added. And I think their stat, they actually include the time left in the game. EPA was created years ago by a guy named Virgil Carter, former Bengals quarterback. And it was contextualizing yards based on down distance, location on field to how valuable they are to helping you score. And that's all it is. And people get crazed about this stat. Oh, what this stat means nothing. It's actually the ultimate football guy stat because football guys know situational football matters the most. It's more important to get 10 yards on 3rd and 8 than it is 3rd and 17. Right? That's kind of the basics of it. And how do we convert first downs? Keep the chains moving. So that's the number one. And because they have the time bounding, so they know at the end of the game it has different values as what you had at the start of the game. Then you have success rate. And I think this is the easiest one to know. It's just saying, did you get positive EPA on a play or not? And what success rate helps is knowing, okay, when a player's doing something, how consistently are they helping their team? It doesn't give you the magnitude or how much they're helping, but we know they're consistent. So we had a situation a couple of years ago where Zach Wilson was 6 of 10 for completion, and he had a 60% completion percentage. It's not a great completion percentage, but it was even worse success rate. Only 2 of those completions were actually successful. They all were other dink and dunk screens, but you can't really look at completion percentage with how much short passing there is in the NFL as a great value. Or is he getting the most out of those throws that he's made or that he's completing? And probably the last one that I think fans really need to buy into is the 4th down decision making. Every team is now go for it on 4th down. Next Gen has a 4th down decision guide to help teams make the best decisions on when to go for it and not. And it's taking win probability and having decision trees to help make those best decisions. And what I find value is there's a thing called optimal call rate, which how often you are giving a 2% probability to go for it or more in like you're not trailing by 3 scores scenario. And how often is your coach going for it when given those chances? And why do we use that 2%? Because 60% of the time when a coach is given a 2% go, they go for it. Well, that helps us in a 4th and 1 from your own 9 when it's saying go for it by 4% win probability. People are like, why are you going for it on your own end of the field? Those models help us learn more about the game because if you punt from that area, there's a safety chance because you're punting from inside your own end zone, or the ball is going to be given back to their opponent on your own 45, so they're already in a great scoring scenario. So there's all these different factors that get counted in that win probability model is baking in. And so I think the fans can help understand why is my team going for it in this obscure situation. The model will help you out.
All right, let me follow up on that real quick, and then I have one more question, and then we can wrap up here, Sam. This has been awesome. Thank you. Um, what is considered a significant number? You just mentioned 2% in terms of the win-loss probability shift on fourth downs. When is it too close to call? And it's like, all right, I could see it going either way. Why did you kind of nail 2%? Because I think people from the outside in would think 2%, that's pretty small. If it's a 2% shift, that's only going to impact what? Two out of every 100 games, if you kind of do the math on it.
A 2% we pick out because NGS has that as 60% of the time they go for it, right? So this is a choice that teams would make if it was an obvious situation. There's also a lot of noise in data.
Mhm.
And so, we don't have every piece of information about every single player on the field. Or, there might be an injury to a player earlier in the game on a QB sneak, and there might not be enough information to know, okay, hey, how obvious is a scenario that since the quarterback's not likely to QB sneak again, and that's such a good play on fourth and short. Okay, that 2% gives us that barrier where we know coaches like to go for it. And on top of that, it's enough distance away from zero. So sometimes you won't see us put it on screen if there's not a 2% or more. If it's 0.5% go for it, I go, coach, do your thing.
Right.
2%, I'm like, okay. 4% at that point, that's over 80% of the time coaches go for it. That's where I'm like, you better have a play ready for this. And so a large part of this is when I would advise teams before I had this job, I'd advise teams on fourth down decision making and things like that. I'm not telling you to go for it every time the model says. I'm telling you you can make a lot or win games, a lot more games if you have a better fourth down plan. Because in football we have a short yardage plan, a red zone plan, a third and long plan.
Yep.
Well, let's avoid those third and longs by going for it on more fourth and shorts and mediums. So now you have a fourth down plan. So again, we don't know the play calls. Giants fans remember when the team had never practiced the tush push, and then they tried the tush push live in a game for the first time, and it didn't work. Practice the plays, spend time in training camp to build a better fourth down plan, so that you're ready for those situations where you can win. That we saw the Commanders have a great run this season. As much to your listeners probably going to hate me talking about this, a large part of their ability is they were the best. They had some of the most, I think, top three win probability added on fourth downs. And
Weren't
then
they 90% fourth down conversions or something ridiculous this year?
it was crazy this year, but it wasn't just how good they were converting. It's how when they picked their spots, they
Mm.
gained so much win probability off of those spots. Zach Ertz, former teammate of mine, one of my close friends, was so clutch for them in the playoffs, adding win probability on those fourth downs. And so you can extend drives, you can keep the ball out of your opponent's hands. It's like a great defense. It's a great fourth down offense.
Let me just circle back to success rate because usually success, if you don't get a first down on third down, it's not considered a successful play, right?
Mhm.
But given the high level of success right now on fourth and one, if you gain 9 yards on a third and 10, does that then become a successful play because it gives you a chance to go for it? How has that kind of affected the successful play model, which I know there are different ones too, by the way. The traditional one is get half the down or distance. That's kind of the old one. You mentioned the positive EPA. How does the kind of people being more willing to go for it on fourth and short impact that success rate model?
We lean on the next gen stats model to give us whether or not they got positive EPA or not. And because
Gotcha.
it's going to bake in the time, then they're going to produce a different data point. So we can look at it. I can pull all the EPA data by down distance, location on field, and I can average it out. And I could give you a number if you gave me 20 minutes to go and find the exact scenario you gave. And so, oh, would this be positive EPA or not? But because we're going to lean on the game clock to it, it adds an element to where I let
Mm.
that model tell me post, this is it. Now, if you're the Eagles and you're going to have the tush push, yeah, I'm going to say it's positive EPA. You helped your team out. You got in fourth and 1.5 or less. That's when they like to use the push. If you're a team that doesn't have a QB sneak team, I wouldn't say it was
Right.
a successful play, right? And so that's why and really it's not necessarily about the push. It's more about the sneak. And I studied the CFL extensively, and they have a 1 yard neutral zone instead of our football length neutral zone we have in the
Yep.
NFL. And it was like a guarantee to get even 2 yards on their sneak up there. And yeah, in the NFL, we're at four downs, and so we really have value out of going for it on the sneak, even with just the 1 year, the football length neutral zone.
Which is probably why it's important for these teams to have individualized models to their teams rather than using a universal one, correct?
Exactly.
That makes sense. All right, final question. Just pure advertising here, Sam. Tell the folks what you guys have new coming up on Prime Vision this year that people should be looking forward to, and just why they should tune into the Prime Vision cast on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, I think Prime Vision, you're going to see a lot of things that are kind of dreams for what we're trying to be able to showcase. We're going to be able to get you closer to the game, understand some of the more nuanced part of the game. That's what we're really excited about. And then some of the more information that's helping teams make decisions near the end of the game, you're going to get even deeper into the game by watching Prime Vision. So every year we're working on new features. We're listening to what the audience is saying. I want to get closer and deeper to the game in this part of it, and then we'll work on it. So a lot more to come.
We thank Sam for joining us right here in the Hackensack Meridian Health Podcast Studio. Keep getting better. And just a reminder, the only place you can find the Giants and Patriots on television Thursday night. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. on Amazon Prime. Coverage of that game nationally. Make sure you go check that out. They do a great job covering the games. Make sure you go and watch that game on Amazon Prime. And of course, Giants will be on Thursday night against the Eagles on Amazon Prime during the regular season as well. We thank Sam for joining us. We'll see you next time on the Giants Huddle Podcast, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants.